That's a very good morning to the Gelding. Gelding, let me say this. There has been a little bit of wet weather. I was surprised that Caulfield track is rated a good 4 this morning.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, a rating of a good 4. I wonder what animal picked that one. You know, like for the FIFA World Cup or the Olympics.
They might have used an octopus to.
Well, they have an octopus, and they say let's pick out the rating 1 from 10, and we'll have a guess at that. Professor, as you know, not far from the track at all, and I went outside before. We're a bit overcast here in Caulfield South at the moment, and I tested the front lawn. We're not a good 4 here.
Bit of give in it, is there?
There's a bit of give in it, and that's without any horses racing through it, digging it up, Professor. So I don't know. Look, I'm working on a soft track, so it'll be interesting to see what happens during the day and watch the first couple of races, Professor. Look, Moonee Valley showed us last week how they can stuff up a track. One meeting, you've got to be in on the fence leading. Oh, we'll fix that problem. So if you're on the fence and leading, you've got no chance the next meeting. So, you know, this bias with tracks, as I keep banging on about, Professor, but it's there every week that you've got to just take into account. And here we are, 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, trying to guess what a track's going to do, which has been interfered with by humans who we don't know.
Well, perhaps we should change the name of the show from That's Racing to That's Nostradamus.
Yeah, that's guessing. Eh? What a beautiful thing.
Well, races at Caulfield, Gelding. There's a 10-race program. One more race than usual. First race at 11:55 a.m. The feature race is the PB Lawrence Stakes, a Group 2 for 3-year-olds over 1,400 metres. The track's, as you said, a good 4 at the present time, Gelding. That could be downgraded during the day. And the rail is out 9 metres, so horses coming round that home turn will be out in Normanby Road.
Mate, they better watch the Express from Frankston. They might get in at Caulfield Station. Hey? They'll be that wide. Oh, dear.
Well, good to see the group racing returns, Gelding. 1 Group 2 race and 2 Group 3 races. So we're starting to get back into the group racing.
Oh, yeah, the good horses are coming back, Professor, which is good. Which the old conspiracy theory, do the track managers keep the rating at this good rating so that the good horses race? Or do they, yeah, and we'll give them the real rating on the day and the trainers can say, oh, well, we were snob. But Group 1 racing up in Sydney, Professor, with the Group 1 Week Stakes, which we may talk about a little bit later on.
All right, Gelding, what are your 2 best bets for Caulfield races today?
Oh, well, Professor, no reason to jump off what's been going quite well for us of late, and that's following the Blue Army and Blake Shin, Professor. Blake Shin returns from a quick suspension from last week, won the Scobie Breesley medal during the week. Victoria's leading jockey last year, so I think it's fine. A horse we followed previously, race 3, number 10, Varvia. This horse has won its last 2 races, Professor, and can see no reason why it can't win this benchmark 78 race, which is a city class race, Professor, which we'll go on about. But Sure Racing Victoria came out and said Saturday racing races will be worth 130,000, but now we've seen to add it the extra race, Professor. We have 2 races worth $80,000 on a Saturday. What they'll do just for increased revenue by having that extra race, Professor, who knows?
Well, Gelding, if you add 80 and 80, that's 160. So they only had to find $30,000 to put in the extra race.
Yes, and we think they'll
rather
be
than
getting
$130,000.
Yes, true, Professor. True. But be interesting. This is the increase because they I think wagering has dropped since COVID, Professor, when everyone was home. And like, again, what they don't say, during COVID, betting went up, of course, because people weren't doing a hell of a lot. But it was, and it's now back to pre-COVID type of stages. But of course, greedy race clubs, of course, wanted to be up where it was. So we've added the extra race. But anyway, let's get off that one and talk about, try and find the punters some winning bets. We have race 3, number 10, Varvia. A horse we've been on, won its last 2 races. Both have been at Caulfield. Both have been over the 1,200 metres, Professor. So no reason to change. This horse, as I said before, Cummings and Shin, fantastic combination. On the track, this horse has had 3 starts for 2 wins. As I said, won its last 2. I think we're getting pretty good value at round about the $3.50, $4 mark, Professor. So I like that. Then I'll go, look, this one's a bit short at the moment, and I would suggest to people we wait until race day and you might get a bit better. And that's a race 8 horse, number 2, Cylinder. This James Cumming trained horse ran second in the Golden Slipper, Professor. And Godolphin, when you hear anyone from Godolphin talk about Cylinder, it is a fantastic horse. It's had 6 starts for 2 wins and 3 seconds, Professor. As I said, second in the Golden Slipper. Talking up, hopefully this horse, they hope to be like Bivouac. And they're looking at buying off a race of the Coolmore Stud Stakes. With it, it's by Exceed and Excel, so will be a sprinter. First up, Professor, 2 starts for a win and a second. On the track, it's had a second. So, yeah, look, I like Cylinder. Look, at the moment, Professor, it's around about the $1.70. We're here to try to pick winners for our listeners. If you wait, hopefully, with some money coming from Little Bros and I'm Unstoppable, you know, you might get around about the $1.80, and I think that'll be pretty good value, Professor. And you like?
Yeah, Gelding, with the query about the track, I'm going early in the first 2 races. Try to get mine out of the way. Race 1, the Chairman's Club handicap. It's a 3-year-old plus benchmark 70 race over 1,400 metres. I like in that race Gelding horse 2, First Mate. Coming out of barrier 4, it's had 17 starts for 4 wins and 4 placings, 24% win rate, 47% place rate. Now, Gelding, it ran 4th at Caulfield last month, and it came from 8th on a day when you had to be on pace to win, and it finished 4th. So it was one of the few horses on that day that made up ground on that track, and you'll remember that track, Gelding, because we spoke about it quite a lot. Its start before that, it won with 62 kilos in heavy going at Werribee, so I'm not too worried about the weight it's carrying today. I'm with you, Gelding. Blake Shin is the rider of the moment. He's in the saddle. 14% career rating for winning, but over his last 50, Gelding, 26%. So one in 4 rides he's suiting up for his winning. So we've got to be on him today. And Gelding, a few races for country trainers, supposedly on the Caulfield race meeting today. And I'm actually going for a country trainer, Kylie Vella from Linton, which, if people don't know, is near Ballarat. She's in career form at the moment, over the last 50, 16%. And at currently very good odds for each way bettors, Gelding. Currently, you can get $4 and $1.80. So I like that.
Yes, married to ex-jockey Stephen Vella. So more known in the jumps racing fraternity, Professor. But, yeah, she knows how to train a horse when she gets a good one.
Well, and I think this one might be a good one, Gelding. So that's race 1, horse 2, first mate. And my second tip is in race 2, the Chairman's Club, 3-year-old plus for benchmark 84 horses over 1,400 metres. Race horse 1, life lessons, Gelding. And you and I have both had a few life lessons over our time, haven't we?
Oh, Professor, what we knew now, if we knew when we were 25 and 30, hey? What is it? What's the saying? You can't put an old head on a young shoulders.
No, Gelding, we'd be millionaires now.
Oh, Professor.
Many times over.
If you look back at what you've done and what you could have done, and oh dear. Good to see you gone for another country trainer here, Professor.
Yeah, Peter Moody and Kath Coleman, they're out at Pakenham.
They're out at Pakenham. Hey, good couple of country trainers, eh?
Gelding. Life Lessons is coming out of Barrier 7. It's had 8 starts. It's lightly raced for 3 wins and 2 placings, so a 38% win rate, a 63% place rate. It ran 4th at Ballarat to Foxy Frida, Gelding, earlier this month.
Oh,
and we know the Giraffe is heavily involved with placing bets on Foxy Frida.
Oh well, Foxy Frida, it's one of Giraffe's favourite horses, and I've got to admit it's one of my favourite horses, trained by Andrew Noblet. So yeah, we'll be following it when it comes back. But I've never seen anyone get so excited as a Giraffe does when Foxy's running. Hey?
Yeah, Gelding. It's Carleen Heffel's in the saddle. She's claiming 1.5 kilos, so it'll start at 56.5. So I think that weight should get it home. It's currently showing 270 and $1.35. Moody and Catherine Coleman are in great form at the moment. 18% career win rate. So my 2 selections today are going early. Race 1, horse 2, first mate. Race 2, horse 1, life lessons.
Now, Professor, just quietly.
Yes.
When you were renowned in that little coffee shop that you attend near Nanagoon.
Yes.
Hey, your trainer didn't have a word to you about it, did he? And you might want to declare an interest with your trainer.
No, but you would be surprised. I know you won't be surprised. You'd be surprised at the number of jockeys and training staff who actually frequent that coffee shop.
Yes.
And when I go in and they're all sitting there in groups, I do try and listen to what's going on at the track.
Oh, do you duck, Professor?
Well,
here comes the giant.
Yeah, but Gelding, I try and get in and out without having to sign autographs.
Okay. Very good, Professor.
I walk in and I go, oh, there's the Professor.
There's the Professor.
So, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
there goes that rock singer.
Exactly. All right, Gelding, let's look at the Professor's parlay.
Oh,
last week there was perfection. Last week, Gelding, we selected Twin Perfection, and that was a really good tip for you and I. And we parlayed that into Brisbane to beat Adelaide, and they just got there. And we parlayed that into the New Zealand Warriors and West Tigers, and we just got there.
Jeez.
Gelding, all we've got to do is just get there.
Yeah, we just get there pays, Professor.
So, Gelding,
but that's supposed to be the horse league that's a hard league.
Yeah, those last few minutes of both of those games were very hard to watch, Gelding. I don't know about you, but I was sort of shifting around in my seat.
I'm going, oh no! Once Twin Perfection had got up, I thought, oh no, well this'll just follow beautifully, and the Professor's done well again. And there I was. There's the nails, Professor. They're growing back. They're coming back, but they're taking a week.
All right, Gelding. Well, for our $10 investment last week, we returned $23.90. So you can't beat that for, especially when the 2 other legs were fairly short priced.
Oh, well, Professor, that's it. We try. We picked the horse to try to win the race. And they're short and things like that, but they give people an interest over a variety of sports. And Professor, you've been red hot. That's the only way to describe it. Anyway, look, if this was, people would subscribe to this kind of punting, Professor, with the success rate that you've been having.
We've just got to let more people know about it, Gelding.
Well,
then we can start a subscription service.
yeah. Anyway, we'll see. To be discussed, Professor.
All right, Gelding. So
Some people that we're having lunch with, Professor,
yes,
normally have a lot of ideas in business and how to make money, don't they?
yes. Well, perhaps we should tap into them.
Well, I'm waiting to see, not David from Mordialloc, but Darren from Sandringham. I'll be interested to see.
Oh, it's now Darren from Hampton.
Oh, Darren from Hampton.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, what happened to Sandringham?
Oh no, he hasn't been in Sandringham for some time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Moved to Hampton some years ago.
In the Hamptons, so yes.
In the Hamptons, that's right.
Yes. Always has an idea or two up the back in the back pocket.
He does, Gelding. All right. So our agreed bet of the day today is at Randwick, race 8,
Yes.
horse 2, Zaki. And you might like to tell the viewers why we've gone for race 8, horse 2, Zaki.
Well, as the listeners will know, Zaki's been one of our favourite horses for a long period of time, Professor. And, you know, we've followed it. We've backed it. It's always given us great runs. We've won a bit of money on it. One of our, trained by Annabelle Neesham, who's absolutely flying, been training for three years, used to work for Mar Eustace and is now one of the leading trainers up in Sydney, which is very competitive and very hard to do. As I said, Zaki's won almost $10 million, Professor. Any horse will do that. I'll be glad to follow. And then the icing on the cake is one of our favourite jockeys, Jamie Carr, is returning to race riding today from her heavy fall at Flemington and concussions. She's gone up to Sydney to ride Zaki. She gets on very well with the horse, Professor. The horse is a rising 9-year-old now, but has come back and ran second in a trial over 900 metres, beaten by Jinzo. Jinzo, people will remember we followed when it won the Golden Slipper. So look, waiting forward for that horse to come back. So, Professor, it's a Group 1. Zaki's a Group 1 performer. Jamie Carr, Annabelle Neesham, a horse that's won $9-10 million. It's got to be in for me. So that's why I like it. Of course, the Wing Stakes, Chris Waller has 8 horses in the race, Professor. But we'll just see. It's a soft 7. Conditions that Zaki likes.
Suit Zaki.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been good to us, Professor. You're getting the odds of 4 to 1. Yeah, I like it. And we'll be on it today.
Just got one query for you, Gelding. Question without notice. What's Jamie Carr like after a spell?
Well, Professor, let's say I think her incentive may be incentive to ride well for a period of time will be very, very good. As you mentioned, she's hardly ridden over the last 12 months with previous suspension for the Mornington Airbnb. And then, you know, it's been 6 months since she's ridden, Professor. She's been riding in trials. So, you know, hopefully that will be good, and she's been riding well there.
And another jockey that I've seen in that coffee shop, Gelding.
Yes, well, she's out that way, Professor, and her latest tangle with the stewards, the alleged white powder, during the week, she said she's going to fight it. So, surprisingly, Racing Victoria have said, all right, we'll get a racing appeals together and we'll consider it. So what do you think they'd do, Professor? Would they hear it now?
No, it'll be after the Spring Carnival, Gelding.
Exactly, Professor. Yeah, it's the 17th of November.
Oh, well, that's the first day they could fit it in, Gelding.
Yeah, Professor. Sounds very similar to the Damien Oliver betting thing. Yeah, ride during the Spring Carnival, and we'll have this hearing after the Carnival.
Oh, well, it's all historical, Gelding.
That's racing.
All right, let's parlay Zaki into the Penrith Panthers to beat the Gold Coast Titans. Penrith Panthers leading the ladder at the moment, a plus 289 points differential. They haven't put a foot wrong, Gelding, against the very, very disappointing Gold Coast Titans. They keep getting worse each week, Gelding. 13th.
Yeah.
Now, at one stage, they were in the 8, then knocking on the door of the 8. They're now 13th, and they've only won 8 out of 21. So the last few games, Gelding, have been terrible for them. The line in this one, the bookies have got 21.5, so they don't think it's going to be close at all. And we'll parlay that into Melbourne Storm to beat St George. Melbourne need to win to get back into 4th position for the double chance. They've got a plus 127 points differential. St George, very, very disappointing. They're 16th out of 17 teams, Gelding. Even the new team, Redcliffe Dolphins, are in front of them. They've only won 5 games for the season, a minus 157 points differential. And the bookies also don't think this one's going to be close. And I think St George are looking to 2024 at the moment. So Melbourne Storm to win that one. So it's race 8, horse 2, Zaki into Penrith Panthers into Melbourne Storm. And Sportsfan Radio returns tomorrow, Gelding, at midday. And the return of Mark Fiorenti, Splinters, he's back.
Splinters is back. Oh.
He's back, and he'll be giving us an analysis of the Women's World Cup and what went right and wrong for the Matildas. And also he's giving his Premier League prediction. So it's been a while since he's been back to do that.
It'd be very good listening, Professor. Unfortunately, a scratching tomorrow, but have a very, very good show. So heading to Country Victoria for a bit of lunch, Professor.
Well, there's not too much wrong with a bit of lunch out in Country Victoria, and it might be a winery, Gelding.
Yeah, it could be a winery, Professor.
Well, hopefully, after a winning day today, the fans won't be too annoying for you and want too many autographs.
Oh well, we'll take the pen, Professor, and gladly sign any autographs as long as it comes with a brown paper bag.
All right, Gelding. Well, until next Saturday, and that's racing. It's good luck.
And good punting.